Hello, you weirdos. Jim here, and I'll admit a couple things right off the bat before we get into this Immortal Thor review. Number one, I'm not what you'd call a handsome man. Number two, I don't really love Thor. And I know what you're all thinking, but Jim, you're married with 5 kids. Your wife must think you're handsome, right? I have a sneaking suspicion she's in it for the comic book review money that keeps piling up. But while that has nothing at all to do with this new Thor book, it's a cry for help, possibly, but let's get into this right about now.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Immortal Thor number 1 is written by Ewing with art by Martin Coccolo, and I'm fairly new to Marvel compared to a lot of people that are probably watching this. I started reading with the Fresh Start initiative. Fresh Start! And while I did read most of Jason Aaron's Thor run leading up to that, I just never really connected with Thor as a character. I don't hate Thor. He's just not a character that I seek out to read solo issues from. I like him on teams and things like that, fine enough. It's just that it's just a character that doesn't really connect with me. So realistically, the only thing I was hoping for jumping into this new number 1 was to be interested enough in the story to actually continue reading it, and Al Ewing easily accomplished that. I'm sure he's really happy that he accomplished that as well. But while I'm sure that newer readers won't quite get the full depth of the story here, Al Ewing sets things up in a way that it still feels huge to just about everybody reading it. We open with a mysterious and foreboding page and then go off to Asgard, which is being attacked by Skrimir, the Wizard of Jotunheim. And I'll tell you right now, I hate pronouncing Thor stuff, but who has turned the Golden Realm into a winter wonderland, which would be fun if you wanted to just have a random snowball fight. But I don't think that everybody in Asgard is too happy with this. Of course, Thor shows up then, and in a classic way, and with a smile on his face, which is a change from the misery that we've gotten out of Thor recently. And I'll tell you, I did like that change. Al Ewing does a good job of making Thor almost playful even while he's taking care of the threat of Skrimir. And he's taking it seriously enough, but doing it in a fun way. And even when Loki shows up afterward, Thor goes through a wide range of emotions that I think really makes sense. I think everybody dealing with Loki would end up angry, happy, sad. It's just a roller coaster ride of emotions dealing with Loki. So the mysteries, though, start to pile up as Loki thankfully fixes the Bifrost Bridge, which I do thank Al Ewing for doing. But we're reminded that things like this, they come at a cost, right, as Loki disappears. And that's a big part of this issue as we go through it. And it's a shame because it seems that Thor was finally letting himself be happy being the All-Father. But of course, that can't last too long, right? Thor then goes to Midgard. He has some fun playing chess, takes some selfies, saves some muties before heading off for some Thor thinking time. After being able to let out a sigh of relief that Mjolnir is finally back to normal, he doesn't have to worry about that now. He is attacked by a storm, R.I.P. Lady Liberty, and we find out the huge threat facing Thor, but also the greater threat that watches from the shadows. And I don't want to spoil too much of this issue because it is really good and something that I think you have to read. It's an oversized issue. So, take the time, soak it up, and really enjoy the story and what this can be going forward, because I really like this first issue of Immortal Thor, and maybe Al Ewing will actually make a proper Thor fan out of me yet. Like I said earlier, it feels like a real huge threat to Thor. It feels like something that, yeah, this is a threat, partly because we see how personal it is by the end. And while I did go and look up some things, again, I'm not the, learned scholar of everything or anything Thor. So while I'm doing this, while I'm getting ready to review it, while I'm reading it, I did go and look up some things. But with that, I never really felt left behind at any point either. And seriously, the art in this it's stupendous. It's superb, as they say. Now, with all that in mind, I'm going to give Immortal Thor number 1 a 9 out of 10. And I'll tell you, I'm definitely adding this to my pull list. I think that it's a really good first issue. And I think that everybody who is a Marvel fan, even if you haven't liked Thor or the recent stuff, whatever, I think everybody should do yourself a favor and check this first issue out and judge it for yourself. But I think that most people will be impressed enough to continue on with it. But let me know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this Immortal Thor start. Is this something that old school Thor fans like? Maybe I don't realize that some wacky stuff's going on that old school Thor fans wouldn't like. But let me know. Let me know if this is the first time you're reading Thor, what you thought of it. All of that jazz all rolled up into one. But that is it. Pretty quick review, but I really, really liked it. So let me know, and I'll talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.